Hey, what's going on, people? A lot of you guys been hitting me up asking me to do some hip hop topics, and I haven't really done a lot of hip hop topics lately, simply because a lot of things that people are talking about out here is very redundant, and I don't. I like to be a clone of what everyone's talking about, and on top of that, I kind of change the direction on my channel every year. I like to go in a different lane, still continue to do what I've been doing, because I know that's what a lot of you guys, subscribe to my channel for. But at the same time, I gotta keep pushing. I can't keep doing the same thing I've been doing. I like to come from different angles, different directions. Talk about things of substance. But like I said, it's just a lot of people talking about the same thing out here. Who's the best rapper, or this type of music wouldn't be around if Tupac and Biggie was around, which is bullshit. But it just people are just talking about the same thing. So I feel like if I'm going to come out here and talk about hip hop or music or whatever, I want to come from a different angle or a different perspective and talk about things that are not always talked about in a public forum. But I did want to come out here and do a review on the Shady XV new album. I have to say that I did see, excuse me, not see, I did hear this project before it was released to the public, and I was disappointed. Um, we all know, you guys that follow hip hop, that whole camp that Eminem, the slaughterhouse that Eminem put together. Every last one of those guys can spit. Even Yellow Wolf that are coming from here and now. Every one of those guys can rap. And we just saw the cipher. That was cool. I thought Joe Budden was lacking a little bit. Yellow Wolf, he did a cool job, but I don't think he really said anything that really stand it out. I thought the line he said with Lord Jamal and Charlemagne the God, I thought that was a cool little couple of bars he put together, but it wasn't really anything that stood out for me. But Royce went in. Joey Ortiz, he was cool. I feel like he could have came just a little bit harder, but um, Eminem and I would say Royce were the best. Although Eminem, granted, he did get more time to spit. But I can't forget my boy Crooked Eye, from Long Beach. Crooked Eye was by far I thought had the best verse. Crooked Eye was dope. Next to him, I would say Eminem. But when it came to this project, they really went kind of like in a rock and roll type of angle, and I think that because of the style of hip hop they do, they need to stick to the script. I think a lot of times what they're trying to do is they're trying to appeal to a wider audience, and they're neglecting the fans that they do have. And when I heard the single that they released, y'all already know whatever. That was with the Slaughterhouse Camp, and it was produced by DJ Premier. I was like, okay, this project might be nice. What I was thinking is they were gonna get DJ Premier to produce a good at least 50% of the album, which I thought would have made this project a lot better. But we only got one track from DJ Premier, and that's a tragedy, because I think that DJ Premier's his production and what he does with tracks fits perfectly with that whole Slaughterhouse Camp. Now the lyricism on here, that was there. The concepts was decent, although it could have been a little bit better. But as far as the production and just the overall construction of the album and the project, it just I didn't feel it. I know a lot of people might like it out there. Now, coming from a business perspective, I still don't think this is a good project that was released to the public, because, like I said, it's lacking a lot of things. It seemed like it was rushed to a certain extent. Psychopath, that track wasn't too bad, but again, it just it really didn't really work for me. But overall, I gotta give this album, if I had to rate it between 1 and 10, I gotta give it probably a 6. And the only reason I don't give it a 5 is because the lyricism was there. But when it comes to the overall project, how it was put together, the production, I wasn't feeling it. And it seems like what Eminem does with this group and Slaughterhouse and everything, they get everyone hyped up with the singles, and then it's like, what happened when the album drops? It's nothing even parallel to the single that they dropped. A couple of years ago, they tried to do the Hammer Dance single. Feel like, it was like, okay, well, we're gonna get something to banging the clubs. Let's do the hammer dance joint or hammer gun or whatever it was called. Let's put that out to the public, get the club banging. That way, that'll draw more people and revenue to the album. But that didn't work because I don't know who their A&R or whatever was, but talking about your gun and all that in the club, that's not really moving right now. When people in the club, they want to hear something for the ladies, because whatever brings the ladies out, that's going to automatically bring the dudes out. So you got to get, in today's time, music is consistently changing, especially hip-hop. And today's time, right now, you got to get sexy with your club bangers. You got to have something that the dudes can rock with, but you got to have something that the ladies can rock with too. And you talking about, I'm in a club doing my hammer dance. Women are not trying to hear or dance, and nobody talking about they got a gun in their pants. They don't give a fuck. So the marketing on that single wasn't up to par. But like I said, I didn't really feel this project. They did release a mixtape a little bit before this. The mixtape was cool. Wasn't great, but it was a good project. So I don't know if that's their whole plan to cater to the core audience on the mixtapes. But then when it comes to the album, maybe because of the record label saying we want to push this type of sound, or we want to broaden you guys fan base. Maybe they can't do everything that they want to do, but being who Eminem is and the stature he has within the industry, I know he can do a lot more with this Slaughterhouse camp than he's doing. Because right now, and the stuff that they've been releasing as far as albums have been disappointments. And what's going to happen if they don't come right, not just on the mixtapes, but on the album. If they don't come right, people are going to stop believing in this group. As talented as these guys are, people are going to start believing in it, because they're going to say time after time, you disappoint me. You come out with a record that I'm feeling that fits you guys' style, fits the format and how you guys all come together on tracks. But then when you drop the album, it's a complete disappointment. You go completely left field. So I just think that Eminem has got to get it together with this group and these projects that he's releasing as far as albums, when it comes to Slaughterhouse and the whole Shady movement and everything, because these guys are extremely talented. But when it's time to put together projects, it's just not clicking well. But that's my opinion on it. You guys give me your feedback on it. If you liked the project, if you didn't like it, I'm out. Peace.